If you're a true Liverpool fan, subscribe to Anfield Signal. Trent Alexander-Arnold's Liverpool regret. Anfield return and problems at Real Madrid. Trent Alexander-Arnold hasn't had the season he would have hoped for. After departing Liverpool for Real Madrid last summer, Trent Alexander-Arnold's departure from Liverpool last summer was one of the more contentious farewells in the annals of the Premier League. Alexander-Arnold, 26, left Anfield for Real Madrid, having won 2 Premier League titles, a Champions League, FA Cup, 2 League Cups, Club World Cup, and UEFA Super Cup. Yet sections of the Anfield faithful mercilessly booed the gifted right-back shortly after he had made his intentions to leave the club public after months of speculation. The player's ongoing silence amid strong rumours prior to his stunning announcement was perhaps not forgotten in haste. Madrid ultimately paid £10 million to Liverpool to secure Alexander-Arnold at the start of last summer, yet his dream move to the Spanish capital has been underwhelming so far. From Alexander-Arnold's comments upon leaving Liverpool, the fans' reaction as he came back to Anfield with Madrid, and his struggles for his new club, Mirror Football takes a look at how his last few months have unfolded. Alexander-Arnold's regret. Upon leaving Liverpool, Alexander-Arnold revealed that he was empathetic to those supporters who failed to see his reasoning for leaving his boyhood side. His statement was tinged with regret, acknowledging his exit would cause waves of anger and disappointment. "I completely understand the feelings that go with that, leaving Liverpool, and I've felt it myself, so I completely understand that the news will disappoint a lot of people, will anger people, it will make them upset," he said, after making his decision to join Madrid. Obviously, that went into the decision as well. It's something you don't want to do. You don't want to ever have these moments where you feel like you're letting a lot of people down. You're disappointing a lot of people. But I've had to make a decision for me. It's as simple as that. I know the news will take a bit of time to set in and people won't be happy and they'll be disappointed. At the end of the day, you can be angry and hurt at me, but I just hope that the lads, the rest of the team, the staff, everyone else is able to feel how good a season this has been. Anfield return. Alexander-Arnold perhaps didn't foresee that he would return to his boyhood club so quickly. Liverpool hosted Madrid in the Champions League in November, just months after he left, and the reception was perhaps all too predictable. The fullback began the night on the bench for Los Blancos. Shortly after Liverpool had taken a 1-0 lead, the crowd was in full flow and they further exercised their vocal cords when Alexander-Arnold came off the bench with 10 minutes remaining. The former Anfield hero was largely greeted by boos as he made his way onto the pitch. Fans then made a point of singing about club legend Steven Gerrard and Alexander-Arnold's replacement at right-back, Conor Bradley, in a dig to their former favourite. Real Madrid struggles. While Alexander-Arnold's transfer has generated headlines, his performances on the pitch have been less spectacular. The right-back had to contend with a rapid managerial change after bedding into his new surroundings, with Xabi Alonso ruthlessly replaced by Alvaro Arbeloa just 6 months into the job. On the pitch, Alexander-Arnold has rotated with Dani Carvajal for the right-back berth. In September, just weeks into his Madrid career, the English international suffered a major blow when he was sidelined for around 6 weeks through injury. Spanish media have also been critical of his performances too, with Marca describing him as clueless and insubstantial. In December, he was forced off the pitch with injury again during what was his best performance for the club against Athletic Club, a match in which he gained his first La Liga assist. Rumours were rife that Alexander-Arnold had even been told to seek out a new club this summer, with Manchester City and Bayern Munich thought to be interested, but those claims have subsequently been shut down. After his first start for over 2 months last weekend, where he registered an assist in the 4-1 win over Real Sociedad, Arbeloa claimed Alexander-Arnold's future was, in fact, bright. Working with Alexander-Arnold, he strikes me as a very intelligent guy who understands the game very well and quickly grasps what we want from him, Arbeloa told reporters after Saturday's game. He's not the typical full-back who's always going to be out wide. He can also play centrally. We want players to be able to interchange positions. We're lucky to have a player like that. It remains a campaign he'll likely want to put behind him, but remaining injury-free and continuing to impress Arbeloa will add some gloss to it. Whether it'll be enough to make Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad is another matter though.
Liverpool lineups for Nottingham Forest as Florian Wirtz and Dominic Szoboszlai decisions made. The Echo's Liverpool writers picked their teams for Sunday's trip to Nottingham Forest. Liverpool continue their pursuit of Champions League qualification when they are entertained by Nottingham Forest on Sunday afternoon. Arne Slot is yet to win against Forest in his 3 tries as Reds boss, and the hosts will have new manager Vitor Pereira in charge for his first Premier League match, having succeeded Sean Dyche to become their 4th coach of the campaign. The Echo, as always, will be on the road with the Premier League champions and at the City Ground to provide our comprehensive matchday coverage. And as part of the build-up to this fixture, our Reds writers Paul Gorst and Ian Doyle have picked their lineups. Paul Gorst. Having shown what he can do once more as a midfielder against Brighton last weekend, this is not the game for Dominik Szoboszlai to be shunted in at right-back. The Hungary captain moves into the engine room for me, and Joe Gomez returns to the side for a more circular peg in that round hole on the right side of the defense. Szoboszlai partners a returning Ryan Gravenberch, who should have a spring in his step, having sat out that win over the Seagulls last week. Curtis Jones and Alexis Mac Allister can wait in the wings as high-quality reserves on the bench. Further forward, Florian Wirtz can occupy the number 10 role, and Cody Gakpo and Mohamed Salah can flank the Germany international on the left and the right, respectively. Hugo Ekitike leads the line, having missed most of the game last week. The France international, hopefully, should be fully recharged and ready to go once more. This is Liverpool's first game in 8 days, whereas Forest were in Turkey on Thursday night. They have to make that count. My team, 4-2-3-1 Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Kerkez, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Sulla, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike. Ian Doyle. Nottingham Forest is rarely the most agreeable of venues for Liverpool. And it won't be any more accommodating on Sunday, with the home side entering a new era following the sacking of Sean Dyche and appointment of Vitor Pereira in charge. What, then, is Reds boss Arne Slot to do? There is scope for a bit of change, with some players having been rested last weekend. But there won't be any messing about in goal, which remains Alisson Becker. Milos Kerkez can continue at left-back, with Ibrahima Konate partnering skipper Virgil van Dijk at centre-back. And this game calls for Joe Gomez at right-back for a bit of defensive solidity. In midfield, Ryan Gravenberch can be reunited with Alexis Mac Allister in the double pivot. And I'd have Dominik Szoboszlai as the number 10. That means Florian Wirtz is pushed out to the left flank, with Mohamed Salah on the right and Hugo Ekitike returning down the centre. My team, 4-2-3-1 Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Kerkez, Gravenberch, Mac Allister, Sulla, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Ekitike. Liverpool predicted team versus Nottingham Forest, as Arne Slot makes 2 changes. Liverpool faces Nottingham Forest at the City Ground on Sunday, targeting a win that will see the team move level on points with Chelsea in the Premier League table. Liverpool has no fresh injury concerns heading into today's game against Nottingham Forest, which should make Arne Slot's team selection at the City Ground fairly straightforward. The Reds remain without long-term absentees Alexander Isak, Connor Bradley and Giovanni Leone, while Wataru Endo will be sidelined for some time, and Jeremy Frimpong is also not available. Last week, Isak took a positive step in his recovery from the leg break he suffered in December as he returned to the training field, but he is still some way away from a return to first-team action. Considering Liverpool's recent good form, the Reds have won 4 of their last 5 games in all competitions. Slot is unlikely to veer too far away from the group of players that has helped to turn the team's season around. Even during bad times, Slot is reluctant to tinker too much, so fans can expect that he will name a very similar side to the one that lined up in Liverpool's last top-flight game. It's been 11 days since Liverpool inflicted a first home defeat of the season on Sunderland, and that performance was one of the team's most impressive of the season. Against Forest, Dominik Szoboszlai will be available for a Premier League game for the first time since the 2-1 loss to Manchester City earlier this month, in which he was sent off, so he will be back in the side, perhaps at the expense of Alexis Mac Allister. At right-back, Curtis Jones could continue after an impressive showing against Brighton in the FA Cup, and he would be starting in place of Endo, who lined up against Sunderland but picked up a serious ankle injury during the game. Those could be the only 2 changes that Slot makes, although a possible third could come at left-back, where Milos Kerkez and Andy Robertson continue to vie for the starting spot. Kerkez has started far more league games than Robertson this season, but Robertson's showing against Sunderland could tip the balance in his favour. Alisson, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate are certain starters in defence, while Ryan Gravenberch, Florian Wirtz, Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo and Hugo Ekitike should round out the starting 11. Predicted Liverpool team against Forest: Alisson, Jones, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Gakpo, Sulla, Ekitike.